Pray for peace in Bunia, Ituri Province, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Africa. The Democratic Republic of the Congo, otherwise known as the DRC, is located in Central Africa. Bunia is the capital of the Ituri Province in the northeastern part of the country. This area was wrecked by civil war with humanitarian atrocities occurring from 1998 to 2004. Warring tribal conflicts again erupted in 2018 over land, control of natural resources, and government corruption. Unfortunately, widespread human atrocities are again commonplace, and current unrest has further devastated the population and ways of life. Many people from the DRC have become refugees and have lost everything. They have been forced from their villages, had their homes pillaged, lands burned, and animals destroyed. Bernard Bisoki Balakenga is the Provincial Youth Coordinator for the Anglican Church in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Currently, social, financial, and political constraints limit his ministry. The DRC is a vast country and the cost of required air travel throughout the territory is prohibitive. For now, he concentrates his efforts on helping the people in his hometown of Bunia in the Ituri Province. There are now 193,200 displaced people in Ituri. The nearly 50,000 families live in 64 refugee camps across Ituri Province. Bisoki's city of Bunia has been inundated and overwhelmed by the needs of the two large camps at the edge of the city. The refugees are fleeing civil war and ethnic killings in the villages of surrounding areas. The camps are overflowing with the most vulnerable people, the orphans, widows, and displaced. It is Bisoki and his family's mission to serve these people in the name of Jesus Christ. How do we know him? In October of 2019, Bisoki came to the United States to attend an Anglican conference at Camp St. Christopher near Charleston, South Carolina, and then a New Wineskins program in North Carolina. Holy Trinity Anglican Church Windermere was fortunate to have Bisoki as our guest. We welcomed him into our church family. Bisoki returned in January 2020 for the Anglican Leadership Conference with Peter Moore. With this visit, Holy Trinity had another opportunity to hear his stories. Our eyes were again open to the hardships his people face daily. Through Bisoki's many stories, we were beginning to better understand his unfamiliar world with suffering of his people and his great faith in the face of poverty, hopelessness, and war. Having brought him into our church family, we have made it our mission to help his people. We realize we cannot hope to solve the civil problems there, but we can pray for them, for peace, and God's guidance to help where we can. From 1998 to 2004, Bisoki and his wife Faraha were in Uganda, where Bisoki studied for the ordained ministry and Faraha studied accounting. This was the same time frame during which violence between the warring tribes was erupting back in Ituri. In 1999, Bisoki's father died because he was in the wrong tribe and was denied the medicines he needed for his diabetes. This exemplified the hatred existing between the warring factions. After finishing their studies in Uganda, Bisoki and his family returned to Bunia despite the civil unrest. Accepting the risk associated with their choice, they remained determined not to forsake their people. Fighting was all around, and the children were terrified, wondering why their parents had brought them to such a dangerous place. Faraha said, "If we don't help our people, who will?" Bisoki and Faraha share their home with their 3 children, Baraka, age 25, Grace, 19, and Fred, 12. Baraka graduated from Daystar University in Kenya with a degree in computer science. He hopes to go to graduate school when finances allow. He is unable to find a job in the current atmosphere of Bunia. Grace is in her second year at Uganda Christian University and is studying media and communications. Tuition of $2,500 per semester is owed. Fred attends Baraka's Academy, one of the 2 schools run by his mother. They often open up their home to some of the most vulnerable. Currently, 17 at-risk people are living with them. They eat 1 meal a day of rice and beans. Bisoki has no income from the church or government. He relies on the grace of God to supply his needs. Having devoted his life and that of his family to God's work, he trusts that God walks with them and knows their needs and will bless and guide them in their work. Life is very hard, but they have the joy of the Lord in their hearts. Bisoki and Faraha have established 2 outreach programs to support their people. The first of these is the Bunia Children Hope Center, or BCHC, which consists of Baraka's Academy for primary and secondary education, and the Shari Preschool. The BCHC was established in 2004 as an ecumenical association to care for the many orphans in the Ituri province. It serves 600 children orphaned by wars. They provide food, clothing, and education. They also coordinate foster care, facilitate release from abuse, offer counseling, HIV and AIDS training, and find medical care when available. Reconciliation is achieved in the community by caring for these orphans. Many widows find healing through the meaningful work of teaching at the schools or serving as foster parents. The BCHC has farmland 11 kilometers away in Shari Naira, where the Shari Preschool is located. Food from the farm was previously used to finance the school and feed the orphans a midday meal. This area has been destroyed by rebel fighting, and farming there is currently unsafe. Shari Preschool had to be closed as well. At Baraka's Academy, the majority of orphans pass on to the next class and continue on to graduation. Book learning is supplemented by practical skills. The BCHC provides a loving environment and a sense of family. Bisoki enjoys his counseling work with the orphans. From Faraha, we thank God for making this project grow up. We thank you for all the support which you made for the orphan children. The second outreach program Bisoki established is the Peace Center. The Peace Center is located about 11 kilometers away from Bunia, near the village of Rampara. In 2017, Bisoki invited villagers from Rampara to see the Jesus film. He then initiated efforts at reconciliation and peace building. The Hema tribal leader, Chief Emmanuel, recognized this as important work, so he donated land to Bisoki and the Peace Center was established. The mission of the Peace Center is to enable peace building through Jesus Christ by way of dialogue and forgiveness. The center now has several structures and is a place for church services, conferences, training, counseling, feeding large groups, and at times for housing. People often come to this nearby mountain to pray. Ecumenical church services are held each Sunday. Bisoki believes that their witness to include all faiths is a good example for the various tribes to see that we can all love each other and live in peace. 27 new Christians were baptized in December 2020. Swahili Bibles are prized possessions. New wineskins and other donations have enabled the purchase of Bibles in the past. These are essential to help build the faith of new believers and those who are called to discipleship. Peace-building seminars are held for tribal leaders. These leaders who were formerly enemies must now find a way to lead their people in the refugee camps they now have to share. Dialogue and forgiveness are essential in movements towards peace. 75 or more tribal leaders attend these seminars, so they rent the Catholic Church facilities to accommodate the large groups. They have a goal of 10 seminars a year. Many women are destitute because the men have left to join guerrilla groups, have been killed, or for other reasons left the women. Training for widows is provided to help them learn to read, write, sew, and cook. These are valuable skills to enable them to find work and support themselves and their children. Bisoki and Faraha work with displaced priests and others to offer counseling at the Peace Center and in the camps. 680 families now live in a new refugee camp near the Peace Center in Rampara. Luckily, there is a water source nearby. When they are able, the Peace Center feeds the most vulnerable. At times, the most vulnerable are given shelter at the center. On any given day, Bisoki covers a lot of ground to minister to his people. He spends time counseling at the Peace Center and visiting in the camps, listening to stories of the refugees, praying and encouraging them. His day often ends in the schools with chaplaincy work. Sometimes a distraught refugee will come to his home late in the evening after traveling long distances to seek prayer counsel. November 15, 2020, Bisoki wrote, This woman, Regina, needs your prayers. Now 1 week since her 8 children were killed by rebels called Codeco, her daughter Jolie Nima is kidnapped, and she remains with these 2 grandchildren, Heretier and Reet. She is now under our care because she is too much traumatized. She needs your prayers. The most vulnerable need prayer, support, and ongoing counsel. Banga Jean attended a peace-building seminar. He is struggling because his wife recently died in the refugee camp. Pray for him and his new faith in Jesus Christ as he struggles to bear his loss. There are many stories of hope. This little girl arrived December 25, 2019. Bisoki baptized an infant at the Peace Center. This group of new Christians have nothing to offer but their very lives and have dedicated themselves to spreading the good news of Jesus Christ. Bisoki and his team meet with them twice a week for Bible study, counseling, and training. Bisoki always says, "Thank you for your prayers. God is in control. God is working when we cannot see. God will find a way."